hear me saying in classes about different levels of consciousness, the different layers of consciousness. I like to think of it as when you first come to these type of classes, you have a serpent. Your serpent usually stays in your groin area. And it just stays there, probably with most men for the rest of their lives. But, it stays in there. Then all of a sudden it starts to wake up. It's like, it enters through different rooms. When a serpent wakes up, the first part of a serpent where it's at, metaphorically speaking, guys, you don't got a little alien living inside of you. All right? It's just a way of looking at something. Then it's moving around, it gets restless. I think everybody's serpent is kind of restless. And then as it starts to move around, like the Kundalini Yoga, it starts to break through and it moves to another level. And that level wakes up a different level of consciousness within yourself. It answers to the many voices that are within you. I think we all have many voices within us. Whether, when you think about it, you've been traveling throughout time. From the Big Bang to now. We're all part of those elements. Remember one of the classes we'll talk about is elements. I know people love to hear that one. All right? But you have to think of genetically, biologically, chemically, you've been around a long time. So there's many, many voices within you. And we need to recognize what those voices are saying and be able to listen to them. And each voice may have a different interpretation of what happiness is. Right? Like you guys may be happy if you went out and bought a new car. Right? You may be happy if you take a drug. Well, you're definitely usually happy when you take a drug, but the duality of that is when you come down on the drug. Right? You may be happy for a moment if you see something that stimulates you. So what type of happiness are we talking about? Is it a social happiness that you are looking for? I think everybody here would like to be wealthy. But I don't mean wealthy like a Donald Trump wealthy, because Donald Trump has to work very hard to keep his wealth and fame. Or people that are out there that really do acquire a lot of money, have a lot of responsibility, work harder than we actually do to keep all that money, and keep everything in line, and to keep in control. Once you have power, you kind of want to keep that power. So you're always working hard to stay on top. So, I've known, some very wealthy people, and unfortunately, they seem to be the most miserable people that I've met. And I don't mean this, but they have a lot of money. They can do what they want, but they work so hard, work really hard to keep that money. And I guess, it's better being miserable with money than miserable without money. And it's what they say to me, but they seem really, a lot of people seem very miserable about it, and that area. But there's also this personal downtime when it's just them or me talking with them that they find a little happiness. So, is money going to buy you happiness? Maybe if you had complete freedom from that money. Most people that hit the lottery end up losing all the money that they get and become miserable. There are a lot of stories out there like that. Some people invest their money and they're very worried about losing the money that they invested. So balance in that is being more to the center. What we talked about balance, not looking at it as a scale, coming more to the center.